In the mountains of northern Austria, a raven is committing a political act. Two other ravens, both younger, both ranked below him, have just begun to preen each other. Grooming. To us, it looks like affection. To a raven, it is construction work. The slow, patient building of an alliance that, given a season, could rise high enough to outrank him. He does not allow it to finish. He crosses the open ground and inserts himself between the two birds. He does it again and again, until the pair gives up and drifts apart. Watch what he does not do. He never breaks up two ravens who already have a bond. That alliance is finished. Intervening is pointless. He never bothers the ones who are only flirting. That bond is nothing yet, no threat. He waits for the exact window when a rival alliance is forming, but not yet sealed, and he ends it precisely then. A biologist named Thomas Bugnyar, with his colleague Jörg Massen, watched around 300 wild ravens at the Konrad Lorenz Research Station, and in 2014 they published what they saw. The birds were running a strategy the researchers could only compare to one other animal on Earth: ours. Until that paper, this exact maneuver, sabotaging a rising alliance before it can threaten you, had only ever been described in human politics. So here is the question this episode answers. What if the urge to tear down a person for becoming too strong, too useful, too admired, too necessary, is older than democracy, older than Rome, older than the word for traitor? What if the system that destroys its own best member is not broken when it does that? What if destroying its best member is the system working exactly as designed? There are three men in this story who saved their nations. All three were thrown out by the people they saved. I'm going to show you all three, and then I am going to show you the raven in each one. Start in Athens, 480 years before Christ. A Persian army is coming to erase Greece, and one Athenian has spent years preparing for a war nobody else believed in. His name is Themistocles. When a vein of silver is struck in the mines at Laurium, the city wants to split the windfall among the citizens, a small payment to every man. Themistocles stands up and tells them to spend all of it on ships instead. 200 warships. The crowd is furious. He builds the fleet anyway. That fleet meets the Persians in the narrows at Salamis and destroys them. Themistocles does not just win a battle. He saves the idea of Greece. Without his ships, there is no Athens, no Parthenon, no word democracy that survives to reach you. Now watch the machine. 9 years later, the same assembly that owed him everything gathered for a ritual. Once a year, the Athenians could vote to exile a single citizen for 10 years. No charge, no crime, no trial, no defense. Each man scratched a name onto a shard of broken pottery and dropped it in a pile. 6,000 shards against one name, and that person was gone. They did not use it on the corrupt. They used it on the eminent. The shards we have dug up are covered in the names of Athens' most important men, and the lever they pulled on Themistocles was not a lie. It was his strength. He had built a shrine near his house to Artemis of good counsel, a monument, essentially, to his own judgment, a reminder carved in stone that he had been right when everyone else was wrong. The city read that monument exactly the way the raven reads a rising alliance. A member getting too large to level. In 471, they ostracized him. The man who saved Greece, scratched out on pieces of garbage. He had one moment to go quietly. He did not take it. Hounded from city to city, the savior of Greece ended his life in the court of the Persian king his own ships had beaten, drawing a salary from the empire he destroyed. Sound familiar? It should. But before you decide Athens was just cruel or just ungrateful, We have to watch the same thing happen in a city that never met an Athenian, in a culture with no word for ostracism at all. Because if it happens twice, in two places that never spoke, it is not a grudge. It is a mechanism. And if you have ever watched a workplace, a family, a friend group quietly turn on the one person holding it together, keep watching, because you already know this pattern. You just have not heard it named yet. Rome, 202 years before Christ. For 16 years, Hannibal has walked up and down Italy undefeated, and Rome has not found a single general who can stop him. One man finally does. Publius Cornelius Scipio takes the war to Africa, and at Zama he beats Hannibal, the only commander who ever did. He ends the deadliest war Rome had ever fought. The Senate gives him a name that doubles as a title, Africanus. He is, by any measure, the most valuable man in the Republic. Which is exactly the problem. His rival is a senator named Cato, rigid, relentless, and certain that any man that admired is a danger to the Republic itself. Cato does not raise an army against Scipio. The Roman system hands him a quieter lever, the trial. In 187, Scipio and his brother are dragged into court, accused of pocketing bribes from a foreign king. The charge barely matters. The point is the procedure. And here is the mechanism, the same one the Raven runs. Cato never tries to kill Scipio. He interrupts him. A trial here, an accusation there, a slow, patient campaign of friction, year after year, that does to the bond between Scipio and Rome what the Raven does to two birds grooming. He gets between them, again and again, until the connection simply comes apart. It works. The greatest general in Roman history stops fighting it. He walks out of the city he saved and retires to a small farm on the coast at Laternum, working his own fields. Embittered, he leaves an order for his own grave. He will not be buried in Rome. The inscription he chooses reads, "Ungrateful fatherland, you will not even have my bones." 2 cities now, 2 saviors, 1 shard of pottery, 1 Senate trial. The same move. Watch it land a 3rd time, in living memory, with cameras running, in the most modern democracy on this list. The 8th of May, 1945. Victory in Europe. The crowds in London are enormous, and the voice they are cheering belongs to Winston Churchill, the man who held the country together through the Blitz, when holding together was the only thing on offer. 8 weeks later, Britain went to the polls and threw him out. Not narrowly, a landslide. The Labour Party under Clement Attlee swept him from power while the war in the Pacific was still being fought. The man who had just won the war was, by the end of July, unemployed. Now find the choice moment, because there is always one specific person making one specific decision. Picture a British soldier, still in uniform, somewhere in the field, handed a ballot. He had cheered Churchill in the street. That part was real. He marks his X for the other man anyway. Ask why. He does not hate the old man. He votes him out because the war is over, and the very thing that made Churchill necessary, the iron, the refusal to bend, the single towering figure you rally behind in a catastrophe, is the thing that makes a single towering figure dangerous once the catastrophe is past. So here is the mechanism in its cleanest form. The actor, an ordinary voter. The lever, a secret ballot, a quiet X in a box. The result, the man who saved the nation was finished by August, removed by roughly 12 million private little marks. No trial, no shard, no charge. A piece of pottery in Athens, a Senate trial in Rome, a paper ballot in Britain. 24 centuries apart, three societies that could not have copied one another, running the identical program. Go back to the mountains, back to the raven, getting between two birds who were only trying to bond. Here is the mechanism, named plainly, and it is the same one in all four scenes. A group will carry a strong member, gratefully, even joyfully, right up until that member's strength stops being the group's and starts being his own. The moment one individual accumulates a bond, a victory, a reputation too large for the group to level, the group stops admiring him and starts dismantling him. It is not ingratitude. Ingratitude is a feeling, and feelings are personal. This is structural. The raven feels no hatred for the birds he separates. Athens did not hate Themistocles. They kept statues of him. Rome did not hate Scipio. They wept at Zama. Britain did not hate Churchill. They buried him with a state funeral 20 years later. Every one of them admired the man they destroyed. That is the part that should bother you. The Savior is not removed despite saving you. The Savior is removed because saving you is the thing that made him too big to leave standing. The rescue and the exile are not two events. They are one event, with a delay. So here is the verdict, and I will say it without hedging. Every system that depends on one exceptional person eventually develops an immune response to that person. The raven flock, the Athenian assembly, the Roman Senate, the modern electorate, they are all running the same ancient subroutine, and it does not switch off because we built parliaments. We did not escape the raven. We gave him a ballot box. The loop runs again next week, in a place you would not expect it. A kind of group that prides itself on rewarding its best and quietly does the opposite. If you want to keep finding the program under the politics, that is the entire reason this channel exists. Stay for it. Which leaves one question, and it is about you, not them. Look at your own world right now, your office, your team, your family. Find the single most capable person in it, the one who actually keeps the whole thing standing. Now ask yourself, honestly, how long before the room starts getting between their alliances? And when that begins, and it will you be the one who sees the program running? Or just another hand reaching for a shard?